Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video. Today we are reviewing episodes 1 and 2 of the new Dexter Resurrection series that premiered today on Paramount Plus. Episodes A Beating Heart and Camera Shy. So we got a twofer as far as the premiere, and we got to meet some new characters. We got kind of the story jumping into everything. Got some background about some stuff. Met some interesting characters along the way, and just it was a really good jump back into Dexter's world and seeing how everything has affected him, seeing some old faces as well as hallucinations and whatnot. And one in particular I was very pleased with, considering they fulfilled my wish of how he would come back on camera. So I wanted to talk about that real quick, and just it was an overall very good premiere, and I'm so looking forward to the rest of the series to meet the rest of our characters we haven't met yet, especially like Neil Patrick Harris and a few others that we've got to play serial killers. And so it was very much everything I could have hoped for a premiere. And so I'm very excited to see Michael C. Hall back in this role and to see what they do with it. And just hopefully, they don't try to, I guess, jump the shark with it. I mean, some people might say they already have, but I think they did a very good job, and just seeing all this come together the way it did. And so I just wanted to go over it. So this might be a long one. So just heads up, out the gate and everything. But like I mentioned, the first two episodes, episode 1 titled A Beating Heart, of course, referring to Dexter coming back to life. And then episode 2, Camera Shy, where we learn about this new serial killer that is stalking more or less Uber and Lyft drivers, but it's your car is what they call it in the series. Its own, made up Lyft service. And so we jump into it pretty much from what we've seen from the previews and everything, where Dexter wakes up and we kind of get this, play by play, if you will, of how he made his way through, ending up on the ground out there in the cold after being shot by Harrison, and then making his way to the hospital. And we get some reveal and kind of some explanation of why certain characters aren't there from New Blood. So I was really excited about that, and just everything, in my opinion, it worked. They did it properly. They didn't try to just go overboard with things. They didn't try to suspend disbelief with certain things, and so I'm really excited to jump into it. But first, we have Dexter. It's been 10 weeks since he was shot on their timeline. So he's been in this 10-week coma. He's hallucinating as all of these former foes or, past characters and people that were killed in just different ways or killed along the way, or just, people that Dexter personally took down. So the first hallucination was Arthur, of course, who is the Trinity Killer. And so I was really excited to see John Lithgow back in this role, seeing, just being with a cameo. He did so much with just a couple of minutes of screen time. And basically, his message was that, you can't have it all. You can't be a serial killer and be a normal guy. And it was basically his fault that Rita got killed, because he didn't take out the Trinity Killer when he had the chance, and just trying to, again, be normal and be a serial killer, live in both worlds, and it ended up costing Rita her life. And so we got kind of a stand-in there. We didn't get, of course, Julie Benn to come back and play the part of Rita, which I thought was a missed opportunity. But we had a stand-in of a woman back there, bled out in her bathtub. So we got kind of a replay of just everything that happened with that. And then we had Jimmy Smits come back to play the part of Miguel. Now, Miguel, if you don't recall, he was kind of in a leadership position within Miami, and he kind of had some of the same urges Dexter did, and he found out about Dexter, and they actually coordinated a kill together, from what I remember anyways. It's been a very long time since I've seen those particular batch of episodes. But Miguel kind of started to run away with it, started to get out of control, and Dexter had to put him down, because he was teetering on the brink of being another serial killer, just that did not have a conscience, more or less, I guess, or a code that Dexter does. And he found him to be a threat, and he did become a threat over time, threatening to expose Dexter for who he was. So of course he was put down, and he comes back, and his message, I guess, more or less, you kind of probably determine it a couple of different ways, or interpret it couple of different ways, was that he was just glad that he had a friend like him that kind of, put him in his place, more or less. I mean, I've only watched the episodes once, so I mean, I might go back and rewatch that and kind of come up with a different interpretation. But another great cameo from a past character. And then we had our other cameo, and they nailed it with him coming back on screen and his first lines being everything I hoped they would be. Of course, we had the return of Dokes, the person that is, to everyone else's knowledge, he was the Bay Harbor Butcher. And Dexter kind of set him up in this way, not purposely, but he comes on screen and his first words, of course, are "surprise, motherfucker," which I just love the shit out of, that they fulfilled my wish of having that be his first on screen lines. So he comes in and he's more or less letting Dexter know that he doesn't think that he is this creepy guy that he once thought he was. I mean, he still does, but he knows that deep, deep down, he has a nugget of good, and he knows that he can take that and guide his son to a better future than basically what Dexter's become and the choices he's made along the way. Doak says you can more or less save your son from becoming you. You can put him on the right path. You can take that nugget of good that you have and lead him down something better. So I really enjoyed all three of those cameos. I mean, they just did it, perfectly. And then we had some time with Dexter going through physical therapy because he's got a gunshot wound to his chest, so he was in that 10-week coma. So he's lost muscle mass. He is learning to walk again, just learning to get through his day again. And he's going through all this PT, and then one day he comes back from his PT to, of course, find Angel Batista. And Angel's got all sorts of questions and just this and that. And you can tell that Angel is not there specifically to see Dexter again. He's there to more or less kind of confirm what this whole Angela call was about. And that gets addressed too, which I really enjoyed because we never got any confirmation or any announcement that that actress is going to come back and play Angela again. Well, they did a good job at writing her out, and I don't imagine we will see her. But Angel explains that Angela actually recanted her statement about Dexter being the Bay Harbor Butcher and says that she shot him. So we can confirm that she is the one who rushes him to the hospital and saves his life. And we had the sheriff from the Cold Blood series come back and give Dexter a file or a picture. And it's a picture, I think, of Angela and Dexter where he flips it over and basically says, "Now we're even." And she did him this favor. She has since run off with her daughter, and they're nowhere to be found. So we got some explanation of why she wasn't there, which I appreciated, because you have certain stories or certain shows that just loophole or plot hole this crap and then never revisit it and try to explain it. They did it simply with just saying she ran off, case closed. So I really like that, and just the way they explain that away and setting it up to where we probably won't see her again. And so it kind of proceeds on there where Dexter and Angel are having this reunion, and Angel's trying to understand why he did the things he did, and of course, LaGuerta gets brought up, Dokes gets brought up, and just what happened to Debbie after he sees her or sees them on security cam footage leaving the hospital, like he's wheeling her out of the hospital. And Dexter explains that he took her out in the boat, and he kind of left out the part where he actually throws her overboard, but just says he drove into that storm and they lost her. So she's buried out at sea. And their conversation kind of wraps up a little bit after that. And Angel, on his way out, says, "By the way, I legally resurrected you. I went down and filed the proper paperwork, and you are now alive again, so you can get a new driver's license and things like that. You are Dexter Morgan. You can reclaim that identity." And Dexter's just thinking, well, yeah, because you can't prosecute a dead man. So Dexter knows on some level that Angel is investigating him because Angel's a cop. That's what he's going to do. And he just wants to understand why things don't add up the way they did, why he got this call, and all of a sudden this woman recants her statement. So we have Angel investigating him. So Dexter knows this, of course, and Angel says he'll be back tomorrow to visit him again. And in that time, Dexter does break loose, and we know that he steals that truck from what turns out to be another guy from Iron Lake who was not liked or anything, didn't have any family, so he was able to kind of pick his belongings over, get his car keys, and get out of there. And this is all while Harrison, we see, is living in New York. He's living out of a hotel, but kind of in secret with the help of another hotel employee. And Harrison's still kind of struggling with his inner urges and whatnot. And we see him meet this woman who's there for a medical conference. And, they exchange pleasantries and whatnot, and he helps her out. And then he sees her again later after this guy that he also knows from the hotel, who is kind of a high roller, expensive cars, expensive clothes, things like that, who turns out to have a history of sexual assault. and he sees her being picked up from the bar. He's trying to lead her into the elevator and everything. She's stumbling all over the place because she's been clearly drugged. And at first, Harrison's just like, "It's not my problem. It's not my problem." And he keeps repeating this to him before he hears her saying no and things like that. And he busts back into that room where he left them and beats this guy to death with a toilet lid. So we get to see just how, I guess, different Harrison's passenger is, that he kills him in a fit of passion because he's just dealing with so much. And the whole with shooting his dad and everything, that's kind of stuck with him, of course. And so he is got a code in a sense, but he kind of gets carried away. So he beats this guy to death and then takes him to the kitchen where he's locked up. And it's in the middle of the night, so there's nobody there. This is where he does his dismembering, and he takes notes off of what his father taught him in the short time they got together, how to clean a crime scene, how to dismember the body and how many pieces, and just very articulate. But he does screw up, and during the dismembering process gets a spot of blood on the ceiling from when he raises his butcher knife that he's using. So we're seeing Harrison be set up, kind of unfortunately setting himself up. So after this all takes place, Dexter, of course, is still at the hospital during this time, and he hears of a man being discovered in the dumpster because Harrison throws him in the trash to be picked up, and then during the process of them sorting their trash, the bag breaks open and he finds him. And Dexter hears of this and hears of the method of which he was taken apart and knows that it's Harrison. So he's got to go back there and basically cover Harrison's tracks, go back and make sure he didn't make any mistakes because he doesn't want his son to get caught. And so we have Dexter in New York trying to figure things out and look after Harrison at the same time. All while too, we have James Remar coming back to play the part of Harry, which is kind of Dexter's conscience in a sense and keeps him on the moral path or what have you. And also through the first couple of episodes, we do meet Uma Thurman's Charlie, who is the head of security for the Prater that is played by Peter Dinklage, who is the billionaire who has this weird kind of, I don't know, obsession or something for serial killers, because we see her kind of intermittently through the first couple episodes where she actually breaks into this guy's house and she knows he's a serial killer, or I don't know how she knows, but she finds out somehow, and she finds his trophies and leaves a stash of cash and an invite. So this guy's actively recruiting for something. But all of while this is going on, Dexter is trying to settle in New York, trying to keep an eye on Harrison, find a way to, I guess, confront him, but he doesn't want to because he doesn't want to traumatize him any more than he already has. And he makes this new friend named Blessing, who is one of these Uber, Lyft, your car drivers, and he tells them of how these people are being attacked. These car drivers are being attacked by a serial killer who comes in posing as a passenger, gets in, and then strangles them and beheads them. And it's really very gruesome and everything. And this is kind of what makes it all kind of funny, I guess, in a sense, where this serial killer becomes known as the Dark Passenger, which of course is Dexter's alter ego. And he takes very much offense to this and refuses to call him this, so he calls him the imposter. And so, all while everything's going on with Harrison, and Dexter's trying to figure out what he needs to do to, if anything, try to repair that relationship or just look out for him from a distance, he decides that he needs to go after this killer. So he begins his investigations and everything, and befriending this guy, Blessing, who's one of these drivers, and gathering information this way, still using those old Miami Metro skills that he has left over. This Blessing guy, who is very friendly and just, I don't know, it's kind of off for someone who lives in New York and for someone whose friends and people he knows, or just people in his profession, are being killed, actually invites Dexter to a party at his house the next day. And from this, Dexter rents a apartment and gets a new car and everything because he wants to do this Lyft service to track this guy down. And all while doing this, of course, he is doing these things as Dexter Morgan again. Jim Lindsay's gone. He's reclaimed his old identity, and he's doing these things, putting these things under his name. So he's making himself easy to track, which I know they're going to address in the upcoming episodes, because we got our preview and everything where they talk about a hit on Dexter Morgan in New York City. So Angel's still going to be looking for him, wanting to ask some questions and just get to the bottom of everything. The rumors about him being the Bay Harbor Butcher, because he brings up LaGuardia when they're talking about how she was certain that he was. And so there's still a lot of things that Angel wants to address about their past and everything. And so we have probably quite the clusterfuck coming up, which I'm very excited to see, honestly, because I want to see just how Angel more than likely kind of figures it out and how he pieces it all together and everything, or just maybe he witnesses something. So we got all of this going on. And like I mentioned, first couple episodes, they were very good, but there was still a lot going on, but not so much that it was overwhelming. And during this whole investigation of this serial killer, and then Harrison making his mistake, or just the body being discovered at the dump, we meet these two new detectives. And one in particular, Detective Claudette, she is interesting. I'm interested to learn more about her because I think there's more than meets the eye, or just there's something maybe shocking about her past and whatnot, because she almost thinks like a serial killer. So the way she's figuring out everything from where this guy came from that they find in the dump that Harrison had put down, to the room and how the room was spotless. It was because Harrison had cleaned it up with a special mixture to where it leaves no residue whatsoever. You can't even track typical bodily fluids from a bathroom that they can see in all the other bathrooms in the hotel. So I'm interested to see if there's some kind of reveal about her or her past, to maybe where she had a close call with a serial killer, or just maybe she's tracked down multiple serial killers, or something maybe that will connect to maybe Dexter's past, or just something there is very intriguing about this character. All in all, like I mentioned, a lot of stuff going on, but it just worked. And there was one big takeaway that I really enjoyed, which was when Dexter actually figures out who this dark passenger killer is, or the imposter killer, and he follows him as he's getting ready to get into another one of these rideshare cars, and intercepts him and says, "You're taking my ride," and the guy kind of wanders off. And then Harry brings it up where it's different now. Dexter's different, where he didn't try to, work his way to get this guy on his kill table. He intercepted this guy to save the innocent driver. So Dexter has changed, where he has kind of, I guess, a conscience more or less now, or just more. It's about saving people than trying to put down killers. So Dexter has taken in something from his near death experience. And so I was just, the whole 2 episodes, I loved it. I mean, I thought it was really good, and the writing is flawless in my opinion. And I'm really, really looking forward to these next episodes to see the rest of the season. And, also with that too, we have our second season of Original Sin coming up. So we have a lot of Dexter content coming our way, which I'm very, very excited about. And just, it is not remotely disappointing by any means. So I'm really excited to see the rest of the season. But anyways, guys, I hope you stuck with that long enough to kind of get my review and everything. It was all very good, very well written, very well acted, and seeing all these faces, new and old, it was a very good episode, or very good 2 episodes. So I'm really excited for the rest of the season. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, you stuck with it and everything, you have some of your thoughts of your own, please leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think. Leave your likes, of course. It helps out a lot more than you know. Subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.